Hey, hi there. Welcome to the archives. Hopefully the audio this time is better because I have my headset in. Um, Nobody's crashing out right now, and it's earlier in the day, so the sun is out. So hopefully the lighting is better than yesterday. I did the video yesterday at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and so it's already getting dark out here. By 7:30 is lights out, right? So I'm back today. It's almost 11:30 a.m. Happy Friday. Today's October 3rd. I wanted to do one more video on Melanin Magic, a young mystic's guide to African spirituality. Just because yesterday I was rushing through the last parts. Aria, I would love if you didn't do that. Aria, I was just in yesterday's video. If you noticed, Ayira, as soon as she heard Yamaya, you saw her jump on my lap, right? Twice. As soon as I said, is you don't pronounce the J? Is it like Spanish where you don't pronounce the J? Is Yamaya? Yamoja? Yoruba. Uganda anyway. But as soon as she heard it twice, she was like, whoop, whoop, that's my girl. So I think Yamaya has Ayira's head. She bows to her. She said, let me respect my queen. Arya, I feel like intuitively Ogun has Arya's head. Because why are you going to war with everything? Arya. 1 second. Ari, you don't need to do that. Ogun for sure has her head. 1 second. So, yeah. Arya is... The thing about Arya, I was just telling her, the reason why I appreciate her is as much as she gets into trouble, Arya is the one that really fulfills a lot of needs that humans won't do for me. Like, I've been asking for more communication, now she can't shut up. The middle of the night, like, she just can't shut up, right? She's a yapper like her mom. I need physical touch and affection. She just is so clingy. So she's still attacking something else right now. She'll remind you she's a hunter. She reminds me daily. 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. Let's just get right into it because the headset, I don't know what it's doing. So I kind of rushed at the end yesterday, and I wanted to take some more time to go through the end of the book. So it starts to move into nature and the importance of nature. And so some of the lessons from the forest, it says, the forest is here to teach you the ways of your ancestors. Again, a lot of Christian teachings don't like ancestor talk. They think you're worshiping your ancestors. It has nothing to do with worship. Although, okay, even if it was worship, even within Christianity, even within Catholicism, a lot of Christians don't like that we quote unquote worship like Virgin Mary or the archangels, right? It's just the trifecta: God, Jesus, the Holy Spirit. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. That's like what most Christians like. So all of this ancestor talk, it really freaks a lot of people out. They don't like it. African spirituality says, yes, there's one creator. And then, like we talked about in the Orisha origin stories, was it Oludamare sent down multiple deities. But here, ancestors, it gets into ancestors, right? Those who transition, people in your life who die and pass away, and they're thought to watch over you. So, lessons from the forest. The forest is here to teach you the ways of your ancestors. Be careful with the forest. Watch where you are walking. Be aware that falling branches from the older trees. Let someone know when you are going. Oh, sorry. Is that better, the volume? Let someone know when you are going on a forest adventure. And use a buddy system. So it does ensure your safety, right? Because again, this is for younger readers, teens, preteens, tweens. Nature teaches you to be gentle with yourself and to respect other beings. You are part of nature, just as important as the animals, the plants, the rocks, and sunshine. You can and should have sacred dialogues with the nature around and within you. The important part is within you. I see a lot of people being like, nature is not this thing that's outside. Nature is you are nature, right? And it does acknowledge that as well too in this book. Whenever you are afraid, it says to call on your favorite spirit guides to protect you. Trees, um, trees have the ability to take care of one another, and that's one of their most important spiritual lessons. We're meant to learn from trees. Spending time in nature, surrounded by trees, has been proven to decrease stress hormones in your body and boost your immune system's health throughout your life. So some people call it forest bathing, right? Spending time in nature, going into the forest. Um, it helps to really energize you. Just like the sun, it helps to boost you. Trees have memories, collective ones that they share with one another. They can also experience pain. I often wonder that when they're cutting trees down, do they experience pain? Trees love living in communities and supporting one another. See, she can't shut up now. Yes, Mama. Trees and forests are encyclopedias of knowledge and natural pharmacies. Most medicines come from trees, plants, and herbs. So again, like I said, it goes into some of the different herbs and stuff that are beneficial. Ginger has so many benefits, right? It gives you healthier skin. Ginger boosts your immune system so you can fight off viruses better. Ginger is good to help alleviate an upset stomach. It increases your dopamine, so you're going to be more happier. It is just a happy chemical. Dopamine is a happy chemical. It lowers your blood sugar levels. Ginger is used most um, throughout African spirituality. I love ginger. I haven't been buying a lot of ginger here because the ginger has been a little bit, but like back home, I love ginger. Hibiscus, I've been drinking a lot of hibiscus, like I said. So hibiscus is a superfood that is high in vitamin C. Anytime you list these things, then you know who comes and appropriates and then puts all the prices up. So like I also do low key hate sharing these things. Um, but hibiscus is a superfood. It's good. It has vitamin C. It helps your immune system again. It makes your heart work better. It's good for your skin. Chamomile, right? We know that it helps you to sleep, but it also helps prevent mosquito bites, which is important for people in areas that get malaria. Lavender is a really good one as well too. Has a calming effect on the body and the mind. It helps to alleviate some anxiety and stress, um, nausea, digestion issues, menstrual cramps, and also to help sleep. Rosemary is good for boosting your memory, it says, and your intellect. It's good for optimism and happiness. Um, and turmeric is another really good one, right? So turmeric is a healthy food with several benefits, and it's been used for over 5,000 years. It comes from the same family as ginger. It's good for digestion. So it names other things like bananas, almonds, peanuts, spinach, coriander, cacao, cashews, avocado, legumes, basil, sage, oregano. Some people say oregano, I've heard them say. Spearmint, these are all high in magnesium, which is good for your bones and your nervous functions. So I really enjoy this book because it does go down and it breaks all of this down for young readers, which I think it's important for young kids to know. It also talks about the power of words and affirmations, right? Having gratitude, being thankful will bring you even greater blessings and protection. So it talks about ashe. What is ashe? You know, you sometimes when people say things or hear people say ashe, it breaks it down. The expression ashe is a Yoruba phrase meaning having the power to make something happen. It's sort of like saying, so it is. Ashe also represents the inner energy, the life force that exists within all of us, your ashe, right? So again, it breaks down a lot of different definitions. It goes into African proverbs. If you know, a lot of like I know white people don't really like cliches. They're like everything to white people is cliche, cliche, cliche. We love cliches. We love proverbs. We love metaphors, using analogies to give us life lessons. We love it, right? And so African proverbs are really important. They help recall memory, they help us to honor our ancestors in direct ways that are beyond simple language. Um, just as you have ancestral intelligence in your Ori, the proverbs have been passed down from generation to generation, which is really good. And it goes into some of the different proverbs, right? There's a Yoruba proverb here that says, "A river that forgets its source is bound to dry up." Always remember, the meaning is always remember where you come from, and remember to return to your roots regularly to honor yourself and your ancestry. So it's kind of like Sankofa, right? If you don't know where you come from, you don't know how to get where you're going. I love that proverb. And it really hits home the idea that words are powerful, right? Be careful the words you use. Words are spells. Um, Let's fill our oris with uplifting mantras and choose to speak into existence what we would like to see happen rather than living in fear of the worst. Somebody recently called me in for always being negative, right? I think it was low key gaslighting as well, but she wasn't wrong, right? I do tend to have a lot of negative self talk, which is something I'm working through, and I appreciate that because words are really powerful, right? Our mind is powerful, and it says that, right? For instance, so if you're feeling unwell, African traditional system wouldn't say I'm sick, which is what we tell people, I'm sick. But that, remember, words are spells. It is power. So now you might be sick even if you're not sick. So what they say instead is, I am healing myself, right? Sometimes I'll say that when I'm really tired and I catch myself saying I'm tired, I'm like, oh no, I'm healthy. If I'm saying, sometimes I'll find myself saying I'm sore, and I'll be like, I am flexible, I am limber, right? Because it is powerful. Words do have power. Um, it also goes into the importance of apologizing and forgiveness, right? I'm sorry. Saying I'm sorry when you hurt someone and asking for forgiveness from the ancestors and yourself are essential part of African spirituality. Again, everybody wants people to forgive, but we don't talk about apologizing. I want to make that. I'll make apologies more popular. I want to hear say sorry the same amount as I hear forgive, forgive, forgive. We're all obsessed with forgiveness, but no one is actually like, what about apologizing? What about saying I'm sorry and being specific about what it is that you're sorry for, right? You can also find power in saying these words. I forgive myself. Oh, that is an important one. I forgive myself because often we have to really not just forgive others, but we have to forgive ourselves, right? So it goes into the power of symbols. It talks about Adinkra symbols. I have some Adinkra symbols behind me. Woo, I'm gonna fall. I don't know if you can see, but I have some artwork here with a bunch of Adinkra symbols on them. A lot of my art that I do is with Adinkra symbols. For instance, is this artwork? No, I thought this was artwork. Oh, this is just a baby picture. I thought it was artwork. Um, but yeah, some of the art I have around, I do artwork with a bunch of Adinkra symbols. So it talks about it. These are symbols from the Ashanti Kingdom, which was modern day like Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire. So it talks about how Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire were not separated once upon a time, right? The colonizers came in and separated African lands. But once upon a time, it all used to be part of the Ashanti Kingdom. And so we have the Akan people, the Ashanti people. We have Adinkra symbols, which are tribal symbols we use to decorate pottery and fabrics. There's 122 Adinkra symbols. I did not know that there was that many. 122 Adinkra symbols. Again, we usually know like about three, four, five, right? Jinyame is a really popular one, except for God. Without God, right? Those ones we know, but it goes into some other ones. They don't show them, but Emre Damit, Emre Danit, time changes. Sisawusubai, change your life, which is literally all about transformation. I'm always Sisawusubai, Sisawusubai. I'm always asking the elders, "Mun Sisamusubai, Mun Sisamusubai." ɔmo pɛ deɛ sɛdeɛ ɔmo suban nyɛ, yɛ suban nyɛ, so ɔmo nsesa ɔmo suban. Akoma, which is heart. So it does go into some of the different symbols, and then it talks about animal representations, right? Indigenous cultures here call them spirit animals. So she talks about like the importance of the snake, for instance. A snake could be a symbol of kundalini energy, which is a dimension of energy that has yet to be awakened. Children who live joyful and protected lives tend to always have their kundalini energy awakened. Your role as a forest scholar is to keep that energy awake. Snakes are honored in the West African country of Benin. The python gives protective energy and could be a good sign. In some indigenous cultures, snakes are not a good sign, so people are like, be cautious about displaying snakes because for others it is taboo, right? So again, every culture is different. A snake can appear on your path as a symbol that it's time to transform your life. A couple months ago, I went by to spend some time by the water at Carleton University, and a snake literally just crossed my path, and I was like, "Ooh, some transformation is coming." Either that, or there's some snakes in the grass, right? And there were both. It was transformation, and the snakes were in the grass. So yeah, so this is basically what it is. I like it. It goes into symbolisms of dreams. If you have dreams, for instance, what does it mean? Again, it tells you it's good to have a dream journal or to do voice notes every morning. Um, it goes into some common symbols, right? What does it mean if you continue to have dreams about seeing yourself falling, right? It says this may be a sign that you're trying to control a situation too much. I used to have a lot of those dreams. That you're being chased. When I was in Ghana, I used to have a lot of dreams about being chased. Come to find out, it means the ancestors want you to look at your environment and who you keep around you. Can they be trusted? Does your Orvi feel safe or strange or cautious around them? And then when I came back, I realized why I kept on having dreams about. So just it goes into some of the different things. Yeah, it's a really good book. Goes into the power of cowries. I wore my cowrie shell earrings today just because I knew I would be talking about them. But the importance of cowrie shells, I don't know if you can see, but cowrie shells are, I got my coconut ring, as well as the, because I knew we talked about this, but cowrie shells are really important. Once upon a time within African traditional systems, it's what we used to trade and barter. It basically was our form of currency. We use cowrie shells as a form of currency within West Africa, but it also talks about how that's not all it was used for. It's also used to adorn ourselves. It resembles both the eye and the mouth. It encourages you to speak authentically and to say the truth. Um, Lots is really respected, right? So yeah, Yemoya is represented by the cowries because she's viewed as a mother of all. So the cowries are really, really important. But again, it wasn't just viewed as a form of money, right? They were also viewed as a way to send positive energy and luck. So we also use them for divination. It talks about how you can use cowrie shells for divination and explains the different words. And so if you want, divination is basically communicating with God or the ancestors, right? Again, a lot of Christians think that's demonic, right? Even tarot cards to them would be a form of divination, is a no-no. My cousin sent the Bible verses that talks about how God disdains witchcraft and all of that kind of stuff. Again, okay, thank you, Western Christianity, right? But African systems is different. And again, this goes back. When you have multiple different forms of knowledge, when you're elevating one particular one, which is usually being taught primarily by Europeans who brought it in, that is what people say is white supremacy, right? The white man is a superior way. You think that Christianity is more superior, better, right, than your old indigenous ways. Again, if that's what you believe, that's okay. But there is an element of white supremacy, and I think a lot of African Christians get really offended when you say that, especially those that are not in the Black church. They're just like, oh, I'm not a white supremacist, but that's what it is. White supremacy is you're literally elevating whiteness, white Europeans over all else, over Buddhism, over it's just nope. Christianity is the only way. And again, it works for some people. That's not. I don't necessarily do that over here, which is why a lot of Christians don't really consider me Christians, and that's okay, right? We all have to face and tell somebody somewhere, somebody God. You have to face God somewhere, right? So I'm prepared for that. I don't mind that. If God is like, you're going to hell because you use cowrie shells, and on October 3rd, I saw you pull the Five of Swords, conflict energy, you're going to hell. Well, then, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to hold you. What am I going to lie? God, no, I wasn't doing tarot cards. No, I was. So if what the Christians are saying is true, then yeah, okay, I'm ready, prepared for that. And I think that's a difference. A lot of people they do things that their religion says is not good, but then they're always constantly pointing fingers. Your sin, your sin. But then when you throw it back in their face, now it's like, oh, well, just doing your sin, comparing our sins. You started it. I did not start it, right? So it talks about divination and how you can use the cowrie shells. It says you do it with four. Just throw the cowrie shells, and depending on if it's a mouth or not, it has a different meaning. So yeah, these are some of the things I wanted to share with you. And it also ends with like what the aura is, right? What is an auric field? Pay attention to your auric field. Cleanse your auric field. It talks about rest. I'm so happy it talked about rest. The importance of rest, right? Be like a tree and rest. Our ancestors did more than just work. They practiced rest and relaxation as a way of life. They were crafty with the work they did. They worked together, so they used their time better, allowing them to work smarter, not harder. This is the danger of societies that get too focused on being an individual rather than a community. It takes a village for everyone to be able to rest. A village that leans towards peace. And so we are very individualistic, myself included, right? Again, I had to learn hyper independence because I learned that sometimes my community could not show up for me how I needed to, so it was better to just do it myself. That's not the right way, right? But again, that tends to be the Western way, right? That tends to be individual. You are so special, you are so unique, and a lot of us do that. To end, it goes into more stuff that you can consider, right? There's African numerology. It says we should learn about the ancient history of Sudan, which I think I need to do as well too, because Sudan is very, very important. We often talk about Ethiopia and Egypt, but we often leave, or the Ashanti Kingdom, but Sudan is really, really important. The Bantu cosmology of Congo. Again, notice Sudan and Congo, two of the places right now that are heavy, heavy in conflict. That's not just by happenstance. It's just like Haiti is not just always in crisis just because it's Haiti, right? It's because these places hold a lot of power, a lot of resistance. They really represent crucial things to the black diaspora overall, right? Haitians were the first revolutionaries. Congo, lots of mineral resources. Sudan, ancient history, just like Egypt. And so I love that they brought it up. It talks about you should learn about the benefits of shea butter or coconut oil. Apparently, California's name is named after a black queen, Califia. I didn't know that, right? Candomblé, which is a religion of Afro-Brazilian spirituality. Capoeira, which is a martial arts that's usually primarily done in Brazil, for instance. I think I have a cousin who used to. Did he used to do capoeira? Right? So it's a form of martial arts that looks really, really like beautiful form of dance. But again, that's all ways of learning about African spirituality. Um, the Dogon people and Sirius B, the Dogon people is an African tribe, and they used to be able to, without telescopes, they used to be able to see into the stars and be like, oh, there's Sirius. And white people were like, no, look, there's nothing there. And then the white people got the advanced technology, and they're like, shit, these Africans were right. How are these Africans right? So learning about the Dogon people, because again, they won't tell you all these. They'll tell you your ancestors are demonic, but they won't tell you that there's religion appropriated it. And so I just sometimes I hear people talk, and it just not only does it sound ignorant, it just sounds like we all become talking pieces, right? Um, but and again, People will say, just, well, then read the Bible for yourself. But if the Bible is the only thing you read, you're missing out on so many other texts, right? Which again is a whole point. That's a whole point. This is the most superior. This is the end all be all. This is the only thing you need to read. I personally don't purport to that. I think that's, to me, that the more you tell me to read the Bible alone, the more I want to read other things because I want to know why. I pay attention to what powerful people are afraid of. You're afraid of African spirituality. Why are you afraid of African spirituality? You're scared of it. Why? Why does it scare you? Again, fear is a lower chakra. That's a first. That's a root chakra. That means you don't feel safe. You don't feel grounded enough. I want you to tell me about the Bible from the crown chakra, from the third eye. When you're not afraid, go read about Buddhism. Go read about it. But you'll be back. You'll be back. Go do African spirituality. But when you mess around and you mess up your life, you'll be back. I want that confidence, but sometimes you don't hear that confidence with a lot of Christians. It comes from a very fear-based place, right? Which I think can push some people away. Um, but not everybody sees it that, and that's just my own opinion. Again, I can have my own opinion. Who am I? Who am I but a drop of water in all of this, right? Um, the Great Pyramids of Giza, hieroglyphics, Kemetic yoga poses. Again, when we think about, just like the chakra systems, when we think about yoga, we think about India. But Africa also had yoga. The Egyptians also practiced yoga. So Kemetic yoga poses, and they talk about that in this book as well too. They talk about Kemetic yoga. They also talk about the cosmos within you, the different signs, all of that. So they do get into Kemetic. I didn't share all of that, but it is in the book. The meaning of the number 9 in African spirituality, the Mermaid Temple in Benin. I really want to go to Benin one day. What is Benin's capital? Togo is Lomé. Benin is, it'll come to me. Queen Nefertiti, the Nubian village, the river that flows beneath the Nile, Kwanzaa. So these are some other things that you can look into. Again, it has additional readings that you can go into. It has a glossary of different definitions that are used. And so I do appreciate this. Again, this is for young readers. And then it has a little bit also about the author and why she wrote it. She wrote it for her 2 kids, Yawa and Koshi, who are the names of the characters in these books. And so, yeah, I just wanted to do a third video because I feel like I rushed through it yesterday and it deserved more time, which again, this is almost half an hour, right? So lots and lots and lots of knowledge in this book alone. I would highly recommend it. Again, if you have young readers in your life, or even as an adult, right? If you are an adult who's been told to fear African spirituality your whole life, and you're interested or you're curious, you want to know what it is, just want to learn more information. Not to say that you want to convert or anything, but if you do want more information, which is what I was doing, right? I want to know what this thing is. What are some of these different things? So yeah, this is Melanin Magic, A Young Mystic's Guide to African Spirituality by Dosse-Via Trenou. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And it's illustrated by Catmouse James. Catmouse James. Again, I apologize if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but yes, so I made it through Forest Magic School. Yay, I graduated. Until next time, have a good weekend. I hope October is good for you, okay? Take care.